Great. Sorry, is that there?
That's perfect.
I was on the iPad. It wasn't working on the iPad.
I know, I don't understand. Sometimes people use their computers or their phones or their iPads, and everything's different. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't let me add people. I don't know why. So how are you?
Good. I'm literally just after sitting down. It's been crazy evening, so
With all your
it's
babies?
just yeah, they're gone.
So just tell everybody, we have a couple people on here. Hi, Brittany. Just tell people, I guess, your name, where you're from, and start your story off, I guess. And then someone did fill out the form for you and with a question for you. So we'll do that at the end.
Okay. Well, basically, my name is Selina, and I am from the west of Ireland. It's kind of like a small, little, tiny country place out here. Yeah, like you look out the window, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
Um, so our story kind of really started 4 years ago. I was pregnant with my second baby, and
Okay.
about it was all kind of, it was like it was different. The pregnancy, it all kind of felt, something felt different about it, but no one ever kind of really said anything. I was told that at about 22 weeks that I was, well, we didn't know it was a she at the time, but we were told that I was reading, the baby was reading about 3-4 weeks ahead.
Hmm.
So they continued to scan us. They kept saying, oh, maybe it's pregnancy diabetes. They kept testing for that. It wasn't. Then they kept telling me that my last baby was okay, so this baby would be okay. So it was like just kind of a case of just keeping going. So then about 5 weeks before my due date, I think almost to the day, my waters broke and I ended up having an emergency section because she was breech. And we met Maya for the first time.
Oh.
Um, all I remember really from that was like just seeing her face and her little tongue kind of sticking out. It was kind of, she was beautiful, but she looked so different to what you'd normally see when you give birth to a baby. And one thing I
Right.
do really remember is like the umbilical cord. It's one of the only things that really sticks with me from that day is the size of it. It was so big, and she
Yeah.
was so big. Like, she was 5 weeks early, like, but yet she was weighing the size of another baby, like a fully term. Words not working. Fully term baby. So it was
Right.
kind of like, it was kind of strange. But she was kind of whisked away from me into the ICU, and I didn't get to see her for another few hours because I was brought back to recovery in that. So I think like I had, it was quite traumatizing. I think like the whole thing, the way it went about, it was, we weren't expecting it like to come happen so soon, and then we didn't know what
Right.
really was going on. So it was kind of very emotional time. So it got
Yeah.
about when a couple of hours later, her pediatrician now, well, kind of, came and stood at the end of my bed and told me, we think your daughter has Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome. Um, we're going to transfer her to a children's hospital, which is in Dublin. That's about 250 kilometers from where we are.
Oh.
And he just basically goes, we'll be transferring her there in the next day or two. Don't Google it. Uh, and then he goes and walks away, and that was it. It was like,
Don't Google it,
okay,
and the first thing everybody does is Google it.
that's going to be the first thing. I mean, like, that's literally the first thing that we did is we Googled it, and then the first things that you come up and you see is tumors and overgrown babies, and there's some horrible stuff on the internet. Like when you Google it, it's I have to say it's quite scary for new mums and dads.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like, for something that's not really known about, it really needs to be, because it's not as scary as it really kind of comes about. So basically, Maya was born 5 weeks early. She had an umbilical hernia. She had a full left side hemihypertrophy. She had the microglossia, so the enlarged tongue. It was
Hmm.
quite protruding out of her mouth. Um, she had the stork parts on her face. She had low sugar. She had the large birth weight for like a 5 week baby. So basically, she was kind of almost clinically diagnosed there on the spot with that. So I mean, like,
Well,
in that
that's
sense,
good.
we were lucky, because it was her features were so predominant, it was noticed straight away.
Right.
Um, so she kind of started off, she had the hypoglycemia to begin with. So her glucose levels kept dropping, which is the
Mhm.
reason they were going to transfer her to the children's hospital.
Right.
So she was on constant feed in the very beginning, and her sugar levels were still dropping down below two. I don't know how
Oh.
you read it in America. I think you read it different.
I'm not sure I should know the normal levels for for the babies, but I know ours are like 60 to 100. I know for Owen, when he was being monitored, they wanted his in like the 30s or 40s, and he kept going in like the 20s.
Okay. Well, here we do like in she needs to be between, well, we need to be between 4 and maybe 7 would be the normal.
Okay.
So she's like kind of dropping down below 2.
Oh.
Um, so it was like kind of constantly. It was all like a big learning kind of thing in the beginning. We didn't know anything. No one in our hospital knew anything. None of the nurses had ever seen a case of Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome before. None of them had knew anything about it. So like we were completely in the dark. So we were transferred then to the children's hospital, which was actually one of the best things ever because literally the doctor came, her endocrinologist now, she sees her every 3 to 6 months. She sat down with us, she explained everything about the syndrome, everything that it entailed, everything that could happen, kind of
Right.
percentages, and kind of like just really had, I think she sat with us for nearly an hour and just kind of discussed everything about what would be going on. And then she discussed about, we had a lot of talk about like the glucose and the sugar
Hmm.
levels and all that. And so we had to spend the first 5 weeks in hospital. I had to literally teach her to sleep feed because she wouldn't feed.
Yeah.
She couldn't breastfeed because she just wasn't able to handle it. I was pumping, but they weren't even letting her use some of that some of the times because it wasn't bringing her sugar up to where it needed to be. So she was kind of getting
Right.
a mix of like what I could give her and formula, which was it was quite sad. I mean, like I was all like ready to, I think I was really prepared this time around. This was my second child, and like first time I was very young. So this time around I was like feeling much more like I wanted to do these things, and
Right.
it just
Right.
making things like that were very hard. So I was like up, I was up with her. I think for 5 weeks in the children's hospital, where we were taught how to use a glucometer. Um, she was put on medication, diazoxide and chlorothiazide. I'm sure anyone else who has a baby with hyperglycemia will know, but hers is actually turns out to be hyperinsulinism as opposed to hyperglycemia.
Okay.
So her pancreas creates insulin for no reason at all. It doesn't matter whether she's fed or she's not fed. She's been fasted several times and she comes out of the fast perfect. But she could have a feed and 10 minutes later her levels are dropping. So she has to be kind of constantly monitored. It might be looking really
Right.
fast.
Okay. That's she sounds like she went through it in the beginning.
Yeah, she
It's
did. I mean,
scary.
like it was kind of scary in the beginning, but like I think once we got used to it, it just became day to day. We stopped kind of thinking about it. Like when we got home, it just became part of the routine. I mean, like she was treated like any other baby would be. I mean, like
Yeah.
she had the few extra issues and that, but like we had a lot of feeding issues in the beginning. Feeding was very difficult. Like she had severe reflux, so she was literally getting sick half of what you get into her, and then when you get it into her, if you take such little that the getting sick would be so sad, you'd almost like have to start
Yeah.
again, literally around the clock feeding. I mean, like I think I went through the first 9 months where she was awake for 4 hours and asleep for an hour, 24 hours a day. She
Oh
didn't
my
sleep. She
gosh.
never, she's
Oh
still a
God.
hyperactive bunny. I think that's her
And
twin
she's
that
four.
I
She's
don't
four now,
know.
right?
She's 4, yeah, she turned 4 last week. Super excited
Oh.
about it. Wants her birthday cake.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, is it still the same over in Ireland? Are you done the blood draws at age 4?
Yes, she still
Yay!
gets blood draws every time she goes to Dublin. So they still do it. Like she's up in Dublin she's down to every 6 months now. which is
Oh,
fantastic.
good.
So that every 3 months they do it, her scans in Castlebar here, which is where we are locally, and then 3 months later we go to Dublin. So it's great. Like they've kind of reduced the amount of times that we have to travel up,
Good.
which is good.
Now,
So
as she's
she,
been, oh, sorry, buddy. My son's moving, I think. As she has gotten older, how has her hemi-hypertrophy been?
it's up and down. I mean, like I mean, I don't know. It's hard to kind of sometimes tell that she has it. Um, Sorry, that went there. If she is wearing like tights or something, you'll notice it in her legs, or if she's wearing short sleeves, you'll notice. But her face tends to kind of change. I mean, she'll go on a growing spree, and you can really notice the difference. And
Right.
that's what you always know when she's on a growing spree, because that's when she's fallen and she's clumsy and she's fallen over things. But about a week later, she's back to normal. She's covered in blue bruises, black and blue, but that's just because she's like, we call her a crazy baby. She climbs. She has no fear whatsoever. So when she's on a growing spree, that kind of really affects the heavy, like in the sense she's falling
Right.
everywhere. But it's not, I mean, like a lot of people meet her and they don't tend to notice it straight off.
Right. Unless you bring it
Her,
up.
yeah, hers is more kind of like thickness. Like the width is thicker. Like she's about a 1.5 centimeters in the leg length
Okay.
difference. And that can go up to about 2 centimeters when she's on a growing spree. But then her right side tends to catch up when the growing spree is finished on the left. It just seems to grow faster.
So have they said anything about that? Like, will they make a decision? Like, because I know for Owen, his is the same way. I'll notice his, and then I won't really notice it, and then he'll go through another spurt, and then I'll notice it, and then it'll even out. Have the pediatricians and people that take care of her in Dublin, have they said whether they would decide to do like a leg lengthening surgery or anything like that? Because I know some people have had that done.
They discussed it, but they said it wouldn't be something till she's much older if they were going to do it. But just like she managed to compensate so well, they don't
Mm-hmm.
think the way she is at the moment, they don't think there's a need. I mean, like they keep an eye on her spine,
Right.
for the slight curvature, and they keep an eye on what's going on in that. But I mean, like as far as it goes, you wouldn't notice it. Like she can walk perfectly, and like unless she's fallen all over the place, but that's just her. But
Yeah.
she manages to compensate. Like now she goes to see a osteopath every maybe 6 to 8 months, and he kind of
Okay.
like almost kind of manipulates her bones back into place so that she doesn't feel kind of pain or strain. Like he's great. Like she doesn't tend to feel it like when she goes there.
Oh, that's good.
So, like that has I have to say that has really helped an awful lot.
That's
Um
good.
so I mean, like in terms of that, I don't think that's really something we've had to think about too much, because it's like she does really well with it. I mean, she was walking at 9 months. Like she
Good for
literally
her.
she was like really behind in doing all her stuff, and we started physio because of the low tummy tone. And within a month of doing physio, she was rolling, and then she was crawling, and then she was walking, and then she was just running off things. So like like when it comes to that, it doesn't really affect her. So
Right. That seems to be like a BWS thing. Like all the kids are very determined. They're all very like you're not going to tell them what to do or you're not, at least
stubborn.
my son. I mean, you're if I almost have to like try to not say no to things because it makes him want something even more. If I'm like, no, don't touch that, it's like he's determined, like laser focused. No, I'm going to get
Well,
it just because you
all I
said
can say to that is learn to say
no.
no now, because at 4 it just works. Oh my God, we went through that where we were kind of going, okay, just do it, and now I'm really regretting it. It's like she is a little mad, and there's
She
our
rules
little
the roost
Hitler.
or she tries.
Oh, completely not early. Like I've started putting my foot down, and when I say no, it's no, and we're not liking it at all.
Yeah. So how are the other kids with her? I know you have one older and one younger. Do they kind of realize that she has like extra things like extra doctor's appointments and stuff she has to go to, or not really?
Well, Adam would. He's 13, so he's known since the very beginning that things have been different, and that she has what she has and how it affects her. He's pretty good. I mean, like, he's a teenager. Like, there's not much you can
That's
really
good.
do. He's
Yeah.
up and down. Like, one minute he'll be loving her, and the next he won't. But anytime she goes to hospital, he's always concerned. Is she okay? What's going on? Is she going to be all right? Like, that kind of thing. Then Eli is only 6 months, so he doesn't have a clue. He's
Yeah,
just
so he's
happy to
like,
see
what?
her.
Yeah.
Anytime she walks in the room, he lights up.
Oh. Has has she had any cancer scares at all, or no?
When she was 3 months old, there was masses discovered in her liver, and the oncologist had said to us. Sorry, my husband keeps trying to ring. The oncologist had said to us then that they aren't cysts and pneumonia, can't pronounce it, and that that for her, she thinks that thought that they were tumors, but she didn't really want to do anything then because she was so little. So what they decided to do was they decided to monitor it. So
Okay.
I think she had 4 or 5 1 to 2 centimeter masses in her liver. I can't really remember. It's a while ago. So they were monitored for for all the time. Like, she was up for her 3 months appointments for the first 3 years in Dublin. So she was up there every 3 months. And then I think when she was about just before she turned 3, they had disappeared completely. All
Huh.
that's left is some slight scar tissue. So the doctor, her oncologist, has actually said that she's never seen it before happen like this. Um,
Wow.
she was pretty sure that they were tumors, and that her normal protocol would be to remove them and start chemotherapy. But because she decided not to, she discovered this happened.
Wow.
And I think because of it, they're actually writing a paper now, herself and her oncologist and her endocrinologist, about kind of what happened and after they use
That's
the data
awesome.
and information about it. So she had said she'd never seen it before. So I don't know a whole heap about it. She didn't discuss a whole heap about it. She said she will be, like, in the future. I mean, like, I think a lot of it she didn't talk to us about, kind of like not to worry us. But
Right.
yeah, none of it ever really kind of affected her.
That's great. My son's singing Baby Shark, my older one. um,
If Maya was here, she'd be asking Alexa to sing it.
um, is there are you connected with other BWS families over in Ireland at all? Because I've connected with a few, but I wonder if you all are connected with each other.
I have to say now, I've connected with a couple of families here in Ireland since Maya was diagnosed. I've made quite a few friends out of it, like um over the last few years. Like, it's nice to be able to kind of meet new people and kind of discuss things closer to home as well. I know, like, it's good connecting everywhere, but like sometimes when you have people closer to home, you can kind of like bounce off each other on different things and kind of
Right.
services available and that kind of stuff. There's no one like close to where we are that I know of. I mean, there possibly is, but I don't know of anyone around kind of this area.
Okay. Now, when your daughter was born, was it a difficult decision for you to decide to kind of tell people about what she had? Because I've just recently been having that conversation with other moms where um, some moms don't want people to know for all different reasons. So I'm curious, how did you decide that you were gonna, not really shy away from the fact
No,
that
I mean,
this is
like,
what she had?
when we found out, we shared it with family. I mean, like, I have to say I have got a very good close family and friends kind of community. So
That's
I
good.
mean, like, sharing the information and what was going on, it wasn't even a decision. It was just what we did. It's
Right.
not even something we thought about. It was just, I mean, like, I everything kind of along the way we have shared what's going on, what's happening, when it's happening. that kind of thing. I mean, like I have no issues with it as I do as like even you're trying to do here. It's like the more awareness. I mean, if you help one person, the
Right.
bet like it's better. I don't personally see what Maya has as anything in the sense. To me, she's just my little girl, and
Right.
we have a few extra things that we have to do. Like she has to have her sugar checked, she has to go for her scans, and she has to have to get her
Right.
bloods done every 6 weeks. But like other, they're like the likes of the scans and that, they're the worry days, as we do
Right.
call them. They're the days that we're allowed to worry. Other than that, we don't think about it. It's like the glucose
That's
checking, that's
good.
just normal. She does it herself now. She wants to press the little clicker and
She's
do
so
her own
cute.
tears and all that. And then she has to put her plaster on afterwards to stop the bleeding. So she has her little
Oh,
routine. So it's not some like having BWS. I mean, like to us, it doesn't change who she is. So the more people that
right.
know, I'm happier. I mean, like I think we actually go um what she had and what it entailed, and I mean, like we
Hmm.
have a lot of support, so
That's good.
it's not an issue for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, and that's how we are with Owen. We treat him exactly like, we treat our older son Michael, and almost to the point where sometimes, because he's so big, my husband almost like kind of forgets and is like, why is he doing that? I'm like, well, he is still a baby. Like he just doesn't look like one. So, but it's interesting because you have all these people that want to help raise awareness. So I'm so thankful for all you guys that are coming on and sharing your story. And then there are other people that are very resistant to it. And some people have said to me that they feel like, because I'm doing this, I'm letting BWS define my son. And I think because we are doing this, we're letting our children define what BWS is. That's just kind of how I look at it. So I'm
Yeah,
glad
I
that
mean,
you're.
like it's like I don't know anything. I mean, like you can't say it's like I don't know. I don't think like not talking about it is going to do anything. I mean, like not talking about it can do more harm, in the sense if you don't
Right.
get the information out, it might happen that someone doesn't know about it. Like people, like even doctors are like our local GP hadn't known anything about it in the
Hmm.
very beginning. So like one of the first things she did is went and got all the information she could. I mean, and that's just one extra person knowing about it. So that if she gets a
Right.
child in that she might be suspicious of, she can know about it. I mean, like so. I mean, like
Right.
I don't know. I don't see her having it as something that we need to be ashamed of or hide away. Who she is,
Right.
it's
Exactly.
who she is. So I mean, like, why try and
Yeah.
change that or hide it?
Yeah, and I think that like Owen was just like her. He was born noticeable tongue. He had the hemi. He had hypoglycemia. He had all of the very noticeable signs. But for
Yeah.
some kids, they're not born with noticeable signs at all, and so they can go unnoticed for such a long time. And I just recently talked to someone in the UK, and they were like, I think their son was 15 or 16 months, just got diagnosed, and the type that they have, their doctors told them, well, because they're the lowest type, they don't need to be screened. And I was like, oh my god, that's so scary. Yes, they do. Like, it doesn't matter what, like, low, high, like which type they have, they need to be screened. So it just made me realize, like, wow, talking about it, making people aware, and having people come on and share their stories from all over is a good thing. Just because I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it, he was like, yeah, they're not going to scam them.
Well, I know like our doctor endocrinologist in Dublin, like the way she explained it to us was there isn't necessarily like mild and severe cases. I mean, like she said there was like possibly mild symptoms, but it doesn't necessarily make the screening need to be mild. The screening needs to be less.
Right.
That it's all like there is some that is like far worse, but it's all the same in the sense that it's all the same screening.
Right, like the screening, no matter what your child's risk is, the screening across the board should be the same for every single
Yeah.
child. So I do have, let me find it. Did you get notified that the form was filled out and
No,
that you
I
got
didn't
a
get
question?
anything. No.
Ah, okay. So I have to figure that part out. But I got notified. So I'm not sure who asked it because they didn't leave their name, but they wanted to know what the biggest struggle for you is currently.
Ooh, controlling, making her listen to the word no. That is literally the hardest struggle with her at the moment. She's a little diva.
That's a good one to have.
Um, in terms of the BWS, oh God, I mean, like, it's just become so day to day. I don't think there's like a huge struggle with it. I mean, like, we
Mhm.
have to monitor the sugars the whole time, but it's not even a struggle. She attends her appointments. It's just normality now. So I don't really feel that there's a huge struggle anymore.
Mhm. Do you think
Um,
that maybe most of the struggle was probably in the very beginning?
Definitely, the first year was very difficult, but I think a lot of the
Yeah.
first year as well was kind of coming to terms with what happened, getting used to the different appointments, what needed to be done, the way, yeah, it's like a lack of sleep in the first year was very difficult as well. So, I mean, I think
Yeah.
all of that, hormones and everything just made it that bit more, whereas now it's just normality. There's no,
Right.
I mean, I can't think
Well,
of any
that's
issues
good.
with them.
Well, that's awesome. I'm thankful that you came on and shared your story, and especially because I think people, because it's so rare, I think people just assume that it's not everywhere when it is everywhere.
Yeah,
Even though it's not that many people, it's spread everywhere. I mean, it's Ireland, it's over here in the United States, it's in Africa, it's everywhere. It's in Chile, it's in Mexico. I'm trying to think of all the people that I've talked to so far. But so I appreciate you coming on, and I hope that people learn from your story and reach out to you too if they rewatch this if they couldn't watch it live. I hope they reach out to you with any questions, and maybe you could connect with them, especially I'm going to do an Instagram live tomorrow just like this, with someone from Ireland, and actually her name is Selina. I'm like, is that like a, a common name?
not
But she
really.
has a boy. Yeah, yeah. So she has a boy. I forget how old he is, but tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we're gonna do it on Instagram. So I'll have to ask her in relation to where you are, and then see if you guys could connect, because that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because your daughter's 4 and her son she's like on the newer end of things. Her son's around, maybe a little younger than mine. So I think things are real new for her. So I think it would be cool for her to connect with you, even if you guys aren't that close in like distance. You still are
Hmm.
both from Ireland, so it'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm always willing to connect with people or answer any questions or anything like that. That if I know the answer, I'll answer it. I mean, like,
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. And I will ask her, and I will, if it's okay with you, I'll send your information to her, if that's all
yeah,
right.
no problem.
Okay,
And
awesome.
hi to everyone who said hello.
All right, thank you. And, keep saying no, I guess. That's what I got to try and do with Owen.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the hardest thing at the moment.
Oh my gosh, so stubborn. Well, I'll let you get back to your day, and thank you again.
You too. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.